Welcome, boys and girls, to Mission Monday. I'm so glad you came back to hear more of the story of Nate Saint. Do you guys remember that he was a man who loved the Lord and he also loved to fly? In fact, I have a picture of him right here. This is Nate in his airplane. Isn't that awesome? You guys will remember that last week we found out that he could be a missionary in South America and that he could fly a plane and help the missionaries get to lots of places in the jungle that they wouldn't be able to get to, or it would take them a really long time. And we learned last week that he helped by flying over a tribe and warning them that another tribe was coming to attack them by using the speakers in the airplane. Remember where we left off last week was that his sister Rachel came to visit, and he was telling her of a tribe that didn't know about Jesus, and they wanted to reach them. They were called the Aucas. Well, remember that there was one Auca who had come out of the jungle, and she could possibly help them learn the language so that they could tell the Aucas about Jesus. And her name was Dayuma. So let's find out what happened, shall we? Operation Auca begins. Can you hold up your fingers to show me how many years old you are? Go ahead and do that now. I think I need more fingers. Sometimes we use our fingers to count or even add numbers together. Last time we learned about the Aucas in South America, they use their fingers and toes to count. Instead of saying 10, they might say 10 fingers on 2 hands. Their language was different from any other language on earth, but there were some people who wanted to learn it. Nate Saint and his sister Rachel hoped that Dayuma would help the missionaries learn the Auca language so that they could tell the Aucas about Jesus. When Dayuma first met Rachel, they couldn't talk to each other because they didn't speak the same language. Someone else had to ask her, "Will you help this lady learn the Auca language?" Put your thumbs up if you think Dayuma said yes. Now put your thumbs down if you think she said no. If you had your thumbs up, you were right. Dayuma said yes. But teaching Rachel the Auca language was very difficult. Dayuma had forgotten many of the words. When she could remember words, she had to act them out to help Rachel understand them. She even got down on the floor and cried like a baby to help Rachel learn the word for crying. One of the words was Iwa. See if you can guess what it means while I acted out like Dayuma did. You ready? Can you guess what it is? If you said monkey, you are right. Iwa means monkey. It was the kind of monkey that Aucas like to eat. Another word was Nemo, and Nemo means star. During the months that Dayuma was helping the missionaries learn the Auca language, Nate would sometimes fly his airplane over them and drop bags of mail from the sky for the missionaries. Dayuma was amazed that Nate's sister could get messages from people far away. She was even more amazed when the missionaries told her, "God has a message for you to tell you how to live well." Dayuma was so excited. A message from God, she thought? I want to know God's message for me. She tried even harder to help Nate's sister learn the language so that she could find out more about God. She also told Rachel about her family and why she had run away. Dayuma told Rachel about the Aucas. "They are killers," she said. She told Rachel many sad stories about the Aucas attacking people. Rachel knew these stories were true because Nate had told her about some of them. One time, Nate was using his airplane to deliver some supplies in the jungle. He was just about to leave when someone came running and yelling for help. 2 people nearby had been attacked by Aucas, and they needed Nate to take them to see a doctor. The Aucas had stabbed them with spears, and they were hurt very badly. Nate helped them get in the plane and quickly flew them to get help. The people who had been hurt were very angry at the Aucas and wanted to get back at them. "We'll pay you to fly back into the jungle and shoot one of the Aucas with a gun." Oh, but Nate didn't want to hurt the Aucas. "I don't want to kill them. I want to save their lives by telling them about the Lord Jesus," Nate said. This was the first time he had been so close to an Auca attack. It reminded him of how much the Aucas needed to hear about Jesus. Nate thought about the Aucas a lot and prayed for them as he flew his yellow airplane from place to place in the jungle, delivering supplies for other missionaries. He also met other missionaries who wanted to help the Aucas. And I'm going to introduce you to them now. The first is Roger and his family right here. Roger was not afraid to tell dangerous people about God. In fact, he had gone into the jungle to meet with a dangerous chief in a different tribe. At first, the chief wanted to kill Roger, but then the chief got very sick. When Roger prayed for him and gave him medicine, the chief got better. Now they were friends, and Roger could tell him about Jesus. This was one of the ways that the missionaries used the medicine that Nate would bring them in his airplane. Now, there's another person on this page, and this right here is Jim and Betty. Nate liked taking food to Jim and Betty Elliott, and he would sometimes stay and eat lunch and talk with them. Nate and Jim especially liked to talk about the Aucas. Jim had heard about the Aucas even before he came to the jungle. He had been praying for years that God would let him tell the Aucas about Jesus. Nate had a few other friends that he had that would help him tell the Aucas about Jesus. The first one was Ed and his wife. His friend Ed was building a new house in the part of the jungle that was near the Aucas' land. Ed knew it was dangerous, but he wanted to make friends with the Aucas and tell them about Jesus. Nate was good at inventing and building things, so he helped make a loud alarm with a bright light to scare the Aucas away if they tried to hurt Ed's family. He also had a friend named Pete, which is right here. His friend Pete might call on the radio and say, "Someone's got hurt in an accident. We need you to fly them to the doctor." And Nate would have to hurry and use his plane like an ambulance. If someone was very sick or hurt badly, Nate's plane was the only way to take people to the doctor before it was too late. Nate would quickly help Pete carry the injured person to the plane and strap them inside. When there wasn't an emergency, Nate liked to stay for a while and chat with Pete and his wife. Pete had also been praying for a long time that God would help tell the Aucas about Jesus. These are not just some of the missionaries that Nate helped in the jungle, but these all had something in common. Did you hear what it was? You're right. They all wanted to tell the Aucas about Jesus, and eventually they began working together as a team, planning ways to tell the Aucas about God. They called their team Operation Auca. So you remember Roger and his wife, Jim Elliott and his wife. Then we have Ed and Pete. And all of them together make Operation Auca. Let's find out what happens. If we're going to tell them about Jesus, we've got to find them first, Nate thought. They knew the area the Aucas lived in, but not exactly where. He took Ed flying over the jungle to look for the Aucas' home. They searched until the plane was almost out of fuel. Finally, they saw the Auca huts. They had found the Aucas they had been praying for. The missionaries on the Operation Auca team were very excited. They knew many people were very angry with the Aucas. Some were even talking about attacking the Aucas and getting rid of them once and for all. The missionaries didn't want the Aucas to get hurt. They wanted to save their lives by telling them about Jesus. We need to keep this a secret, they decided. But how would they help the Aucas, the most dangerous people on the earth? We could fly the airplane over their village and drop gifts to prove that we like them, they decided. They knew Dayuma was teaching Nate's sister Rachel the Aucas language. Maybe Dayuma could teach them some words too. We could use the loudspeaker and shout the Auca words from the airplane and tell them we want to be their friends. Do you think the missionaries will be able to tell the Aucas about Jesus? Would the Aucas understand that the missionaries wanted to be their friends? You'll have to come back next week to find out. I'm so glad you guys joined us for this Mission Monday, and we want to hear from you. You should write me and tell me what you think of this week's story, and if you think that the Aucas will think that they're friends, or will something else happen. You can write me at 160 Bear Lodge Drive, Townsend, Tennessee 37882. We'll see you guys next week.